Welcome to Be Better Every Day, the podcast where we talk about self-improvement, mental health, relationships, and the ups and downs of becoming the best versions of ourselves.
We're your hosts, Josh and Mac, just two friends on a journey to level up in life, get in shape, and break free from bad habits one day at a time.
No fake motivation, no perfection, just real talk, real struggles, and real growth.
So if you're working on yourself, figuring life out, or just need a little extra motivation, you're in the right place.
Let's get into it. What's up, dude?
What's going on, man? We're back.
We're back in our side of the border.
We are. We're home. Been home for 4 days now.
Yep.
This is the fourth day home.
The post-op podcast.
This is the post-trip podcast.
Yeah, post-trip.
Because there's a lot to cover There's a lot that happened post-op after the last podcast.
Yes, true that. So let's get into it, dude.
Well,
what's it like being home?
It's been good, man.
Yeah.
Like I said, I'm just so blessed and so thankful that I did not have the complications that I prayed I didn't have, you know?
Yeah.
But, like, I still haven't thrown up, you know, thank God. Thank God I still haven't thrown up.
One sneeze got you pretty good.
I did sneeze. That one hurt. And then I have had one or two coughs that have got me off guard.
But outside of that, you did pretty flawless, I would say.
When we ended the last podcast, I still had the drain in.
Yeah.
So that afternoon, they came and took the drain out. And then it was literally just chill. That was Saturday. We were just chilling in the room.
Yeah, it was a super chill day. The Pit.
We did watch The Pit.
The Pit was perfect, though. 1 hour episodes, basically, and then you get up and do your walk. It was awesome.
And then we cruised the floor. What we didn't get into, let's talk about the little girl's birthday party for a second.
Yeah.
So, right outside of the surgical center, there was kind of like I don't want to call it backyard, but it was like
an alleyway.
An alleyway area where a bunch of buildings converged. It had one big outdoor patio that connected them. And on Friday night, they had set up a carport style tent there. And we were like, I wonder what that's for. Well, come Saturday, we found out they were having a little girl's probably 3-year-old birthday party out there. And it was cool because every hour we watched them come, they were setting up, and then they rolled the bounce house out, and then they were setting up the decorations. They had the balloon arch, and we get to watch this little girl have her little birthday party. And then it downpoured.
Yep. It's almost basically after they got the bounce house up the first time.
Yes, they did. It was like a party ending downpour.
Yeah. It was real sad looking. We came back, the bounce house was down, covered in water. Then next thing you know, they rallied, dude.
They did rally. Even while it was raining, they were out there in the rain setting up a second carport style tent. They got all the tables. I think they actually had 3 at the end.
Yeah.
But they had all the tables and chairs that were decorated underneath the tent. And then the sun came out. And we got to watch this little girl have the best time with 6 or 7 other kids in this bounce house, bouncing off each other. And it was like, got to watch the ebbs and flows, the highs and lows of her birthday. I was so happy for her that she got to have the birthday that she wanted.
I know, dude.
Such a good time to watch her playing it. And so that was kind of motivating. And it was like every hour we're like, oh, let's go check on her.
Yeah, it's exactly
she had no idea we were there, even watching her.
We're checking on this whole party.
Part of me wanted to get the concierge guy to send a gift down for me, you know?
And we're not the only one. It was just everybody, you were passing the hallway, be like, did you see they got the bounce house back up?
Yeah, it was funny to watch. But they pulled the drain out, and that was, I'd be honest, the most painful part of the whole situation.
Yeah.
And because they're pulling it literally from the inside of you, from your stomach, out your stomach on the right, out the left side of your torso. And you can feel every inch of it coming out. But once it was out, and maybe I over-dramatized it a little bit, because once it was out, I was still feeling the residual pain. I'm like, are you done yet? And he's like, I've been done for 5 seconds. So
Yeah, it was fun. He was still taking deep breaths.
I was like, and but it was out, and then it was fine. I mean, we went to bed that night. I attempted to put on a CPAP machine that was not calibrated to me, and it was like trying to sleep with a tornado in your face, and so that wasn't helpful. And but yeah, I slept 8 popsicles that day.
Yeah, you were super excited about popsicles, which I would be too.
Yeah, and they were these Crayola crown shaped popsicles. And to be honest, we talked about the staff at the whole place, but the only time I had to push the button for the nurse was because I wanted an extra popsicle. And I for a healthcare situation, if that's the only time you got to press the button is for a popsicle,
it's amazing.
Beyond anything I could have asked for.
Yeah.
So we woke up the next morning. We had to be downstairs at 7:00 to go back to the recovery center. So we go back to the recovery center, and they send us to a class. And Josh and one of the other companions, one of the moms of one of the other patients, shout out Lisa, went and attempted to get coffee.
Yeah, we tried.
And it turned into Doritos.
Yeah, so our breakfast, we were made aware how good the coffee shop on the corner was from the recovery center. And we were like, yes, let's go. So we left y'all in class, went down to the corner, 9 a.m. Place doesn't open until 12:30 on a Sunday. Every other day, we would have been golden. Just Sundays, they open late. And notice that a lot on Sunday, that things open later. So we end up in a little convenience store around the other corner, and pre-made like vanilla cappuccino or something, and pizzeria Doritos was breakfast.
And the class we went to, I think the first class was medication.
Yep.
And so they gave us all of our medication. The prescriptions are written in Spanish, but there's English directions for us on all of them. They gave us like an antacid that's supposed to coat our stomach. They gave us acetaminophen for pain relief. They gave us Prilosec to prevent any kind of heartburn. They gave us amoxicillin. One girl was allergic to amoxicillin, so she got something else. And one other pill to prevent deep vein thrombosis. Blood clots in the veins and stuff like that. So they gave us that. We all took our medication together. They explained how to take it. And then, oh no, we didn't take our medication then because we had gotten medication.
Yeah, you got the medication before you left.
Before I left the surgical center. So then, we had talked in the last podcast about how great the shower was at the recovery center. And so I forego to shower at the hospital or the surgical center because I knew how good it was. So immediately out of class, Josh is still at the convenience store getting breakfast or Doritos for him. And he comes back, and I've already got the music playing. I'm already in the shower jamming out. Should we talk about how much stuff I lost while I was there?
Yeah. Make sure you check behind you because, there is a lot of movement because you go surgical center for paperwork, then recovery house for your first night, then surgical center for the next 2 nights, and then you're back at the recovery center. So there is a lot of moving that happens.
And so I originally thought I had lost my Beats, my earbuds. And I was sure that when I had them at the recovery center the first night, that I kind of tossed everything onto the futon while I was packing, and they were black. The futon was black, my Beats case was black, and I probably just overlooked it. And when I looked it up on my Find My app on my iPhone, it said they were still at the recovery house. And
our boy took it really serious.
Yeah, we reached
Staff takes it serious if something happens. We reached out
to the concierge, and we were like, hey, I think I may have left my headphone case over at the recovery center. He's like, cool, I'll send somebody up to look for it. Apparently, they tore this room apart. They could not find my Beats. And at that point, I was like, okay, it's kind of on me. Like, it was my responsibility to keep up with.
I lost them.
Yeah. And I wasn't accusing anybody of anything. And he took it very serious. He's like, look, I want people to know that they come down here, their stuff's safe. If somebody picked it up, we're going to find out who it was. And I was like, whoa, 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 whoa.
Whether it be a patient or an employee,
Yeah.
they take it very serious.
And for some reason, when I pinged them, they wouldn't connect. But really, what happened, and I felt bad afterwards, is that they were in a different pocket, and they were buried in a pocket of my backpack underneath of something else. And I was reaching over them every time I was. So when we were packing up, I found them. And, I mean, he took it very... He's like borderline, I'm going over there myself to look.
My dude, though, shout out, man.
Yeah.
On the hunt for headphones, taking me to get my tacos at night. I mean, we had, like, almost every employee you just have such a wonderful conversation with. Like, one of the nights I went out to get tacos with them, we ended up a block past where we were supposed to go, and all we were going is to the end of the block we were on. And we walked past into the next block just talking and having such a good time that we were like, oh, crap, we got to go back. We got to circle back to where we were actually going. And
so I lost my beats. And then, so Sunday when we got back to the recovery center, my kids had sent me each with a little stuffed animal to take with me to remember them. And I had gone around the first day at the recovery center. I'd gone around taking some pictures to send to them. And then once I was feeling a little bit better at the surgical suite in the Harry Potter room, I had kind of positioned the stuffed animals and taken pictures for them to kind of show them where I was. And well, I got back to the recovery center on Sunday and realized I have left these stuffed animals at the surgical center. I put them on a shelf to take a picture, and I was like, well, surely I won't remember them because they're right underneath the TV. And just in the process of packing and everything, I forgot them.
And that's after he forgot his other headphones too.
After I forgot my no, the other headphones. Yes. So when we were leaving the surgical center, we were waiting on the chairs down there, and we went and got in the van, and the guy was like, is anybody missing anything? And
he knew exactly who it was.
He knew who it was.
He looked directly at you.
I had already thought I had lost my earbuds. Now these are my JBL over-the-ear headphones. I had left on the chair when I stood up to leave. So, and then so I get back, and I can't find the stuffed animals. So I call them, and they get them sent over. Anyway, huge shout out to them. Thank you for doing that for me.
Then the whole time, we're all giving Max such a hard time. I leave my headphones in the car at the airport.
Yeah.
Luckily, they're sending them back already. Shout out. They were on it the next day.
Yeah, they didn't charge us any shipping or anything. They were like, hey, no big deal. We got them. They're coming to you. They sent you the tracking information and everything already. On top of that, at one point, I thought I lost, after I went to that first medical class, I thought I lost my sunglasses. I got out of the shower, and I'm getting dressed, put my hat on, can't find my sunglasses. And at this point, I've lost so many things, or thought I'd lost so many things. I'm like, I'm not even going to say anything. These are just gone, and that's fine. I can get new sunglasses. Like, I'm not even going to mention, like,
no one needs to know.
I have never been this forgetful in my life. But I got out of the shower, and immediately Josh and I hit the streets of Tijuana.
All over the place. Walking them streets. Would you say we got like 7-8 miles in?
8.5 miles. I had 15,000 steps on my smartwatch.
Yeah.
On my Garmin. And that's a pretty accurate tracker.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I should have had my walk turned on, and we could have seen everywhere we went.
I definitely should have, because I was already in the streets by then.
We were walking. I mean, we walked. There was another guy, Mendora.
I definitely paid for the walk around on Sunday.
Yeah, well, we got caught up in the streets of Tijuana, and then the streets of Tijuana got caught up in you when you got home.
Yeah, it did.
You know, they caught you up.
Something flared up for sure. But yeah, Sunday was awesome. Got to walk around that little taco hut we stopped by.
Yeah,
you got to enjoy the free smells.
I did enjoy the smells, and Mendora, we met up with one of the other patients. Mendora, her husband, met up with us. We ran into him on the street, so he started walking with us, and went to the taco shack. Y'all got burrito street tacos.
Yeah, dude, they were bomb.
And like literally, it was like, I mean, the hut couldn't have been more than 12 square feet big.
Maybe there was two of them working, but there had only been one of me in there.
Yeah, there was two of them working, and there was only room for one.
Yeah, but yeah, that was really good, and some kind of broth they give you was amazing.
Yeah, and then you also had the rum chata. What's it called?
Yeah, the horchata or
The
something.
horchata
Yeah, it was really
drink.
good. I normally don't do that, but I wanted a Coke, and he pulled those two things out, and I was like, "Well, I'm here.
Yeah,
We're taking we're
when in
taking risks."
Mexico.
Yeah, like guac. I'm not normally a fan of guac, but the guac was so good there that I went back for more.
then
Can't
we
say enough. As a companion, getting tacos on the streets is not better.
then we went to he had to, Mendora's husband had to go back because they had spa services planned. Josh and I got another couples massage, but not till later in the afternoon. While we were waiting to get that,
I like how you say it's a couple massage, like that's what we picked. They put us in one. They were like, "Oh, y'all came together, yeah, so y'all are fine getting massages in the same room together." And we're like, "Yeah, I guess so."
we did not book a couples massage. It was two guys getting a massage in the same room.
Yeah.
So, but it didn't. And
But
then
before that, we hit the barbershop. What was it?
it was called California Barbershop,
Yeah. Shout out to that dude.
and that girl. The girl.
It was amazing. I've been telling people that every time you needed someone to speak English, that like somehow there was a person there. You could be walking around wandering, and then you didn't need anybody to speak English. But the moment you needed it, somebody spoke enough to make it happen. Like when we ordered tacos, when we got there to get, I got a beard trim, you got a haircut, beard trim.
And to be honest, $35 for both. The guy that cut your hair was kind of, I was trying to imagine him, kind of like a Samoan, Polynesian,
Yeah,
type guy.
but short.
And he was a great barber. She was a great barber.
Dude, when he pulled out the gold case and he put on the leather apron, I was like, oh, he
Yeah, we're in the right spot.
Yeah. And then he started slinging that scissors out of his apron like nobody's business, like it was a 6-shooter.
And then he pulled out that straight razor and lined you up. I mean,
Yeah.
mine's just now starting to get a little peach fuzz back, and that was on Sunday.
Yeah, my beard trim was like 45 minutes long, and it cost $10.
I know. And my haircut and beard trim, and I mean, when I say beard trim, I had booked a post-surgical massage and a facial. And I told the girl when I got my post-surgical massage, I don't need the facial because I just got one at the barber shop. I mean,
I doubled down. I got both still.
yeah, the lady that did my beard trim and haircut, she rolled out this steam machine and steamed my face.
It was awesome.
Yeah, it was a good time. And
that's the best barbershop experience I think I've ever had. The playlist was on point. Just everything.
Yeah,
the playlist was so good. I asked him where it was at, and he was like, "Oh, I made it for myself." I'm like, "Oh, you need to post it."
Then we had one more class. I had one more class that was like the wellness and nutrition class.
Yeah, nutritional class.
So they kind of explained to us what our post-surgical diet restrictions are going to be. And it's a 4-week process before I can get back to regular food. So I just completed week 1. So my surgery was on Friday. So every Friday starts a new week for me. And so last week, all I could have was broth, protein shakes, Jello, Gatorade Zero, electrolytes, Pedialytes, clear liquid diet.
Yeah. And like how much of each? Like how much water?
Well, here's the thing. Because on the map, on the thing they gave me, it said 30 ounces of water a day. And I'm like, uh-oh, because I had already had a bottle of water and a Gatorade prior to leaving the surgical center that morning. But I'm a guy who has to hydrate a lot, Yeah. I kind of gotten worried a little because
you had so much liquid.
I was drinking so much liquid and I wasn't peeing. My body was just absorbing, and I'm sure part of that is the post-surgical body's response to it, trying to rehydrate, and I just wasn't peeing. And I was drinking like 80 ounces of water or whatever. I'm like, maybe my stomach probably shouldn't be able to hold all this, but I guess it's going down into my kidneys and flushing my kidneys and getting stored in my bladder. And eventually I did pee, and I still don't think I'm peeing as much as I should, but
yeah,
I'm not showing signs of dehydration when I do pee. And
well, that's good.
Right now the most important thing for me is to remain hydrated. So as long as my body's not reacting poorly and I'm not like what they call dumping syndrome, where as soon as I eat or drink something, I'm immediately passing it, or I'm not throwing it up,
oh yeah,
I'm in a safe zone.
Well, that's good then.
Yeah, so and I haven't had any of those symptoms. But
What about broth? How much broth can you have
I
each day?
have about like 6 to 8 ounces at a time, at least once a day.
Yeah.
But I'm also doing the protein shakes.
Are you putting the protein in the broth too, like they were doing?
No, 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 because I didn't buy any plain
Yeah, no,
unflavored protein yet.
yeah,
So I came home and on the trip home, I didn't have any protein, and we're not supposed to have the pre-made like muscle milk or Premier shakes or anything until week 2.
yeah. So now you can.
Yeah. So, but at the airport in Minneapolis, I could feel it,
Yeah,
and so I bought a muscle milk and I drank about a third of it, and it did make me go to the bathroom afterwards. But I needed that protein. My body absorbed some of the protein,
yeah.
but it anyway. So, starting this week, I get to add and pudding and plain Greek yogurt. Now they did say I could take like a flavor pack like Crystal Light or something like that and add to the plain Greek yogurt
Yeah.
to get a little bit of flavor to it to make it a little palatable. And
What about a little flavored protein in there?
yeah, I probably could put a little flavored like some of that strawberry
Yeah,
cream protein powder that I have.
yeah. Do something.
Yeah, and I have the cinnamon toast crunch on the way. It'll be here today.
Nice.
And I think when I go to BJ's, I'm gonna pick up some Fruity Pebbles, so that I have a variety of stuff. I not always having the same thing and still have the Fairlife ones as well.
Yeah.
I just want stuff on hand that I can grab or I can make quickly, so I'm not ever longing for something to eat.
Exactly. Yeah.
When I need it. And then we went to so this starting next week, I start a pureed food diet.
So like baby food and stuff.
Yeah, I asked them like, can I buy baby food? And they said not. They would prefer that I would like make baby food, because a lot of that pre-canned stuff has preservatives in it that I don't necessarily need.
Yeah.
So like if I wanted to make carrots and puree them, I could have that. And she said, or just applesauce. So I thought when I go to BJ's today, I'm gonna buy one of those apple, the applesauce that come in the pouches with a little nipple on them.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and just
They'll
have
carry
those.
them around.
Yeah, just have those on hand.
It's funny because you're about to have pudding. That's probably gonna be the best pudding you've ever had in your life.
I'm not gonna lie,
And
I cheated and had a vanilla pudding last night at like 11 o'clock. And I'm like an hour away from,
Yeah.
and I'm like, if I had to pay the consequences, I just wanted something different. I had already had enough Jello for the day and popsicles. Oh, popsicles! I can have popsicles, and I can have like, when you're on week 1 and week 2, they're not so worried about your sugar intake because you're working at a caloric deficit here.
Yeah. Regardless.
And so as I start introducing more foods that have sugars in them, whether they be natural or artificial added sugars, I step down. I try to moderate it a little bit. I won't have like, I'll switch. I haven't. Like I went to 7-Eleven the other day and got a popsicle. It wasn't a sugar-free popsicle, but it really wasn't a concern because,
like you say, you're in a
deficit.
Yeah, deficit.
And so, but I've found really easy ways to do, like when we were at the airport and you got Chick-fil-A and I just needed something, like you went ahead and grabbed me a hot water and I made
the
a broth.
hottest water you could put in a cup.
Yeah,
without it boiling in the cup.
I was like, wow, I didn't know Chick-fil-A served hot water at 212 degrees, but I guess they do. I had to
like 99 Celsius.
Yeah, exactly. And that's right, me and Josh mastered. Hey, 16 degrees Celsius is cold.
Yeah. It's where you want to be for sleep.
Yeah, I think if they needed to and the refrigeration system went down, they could literally come and store things in our room.
Which was awesome.
So after the pureed food diet, I switched to a soft food diet. I can start adding things like chicken and tuna, but it needs to be run through like tuna. Canned tuna already comes pretty, in a soft texture. But like, I could go ahead and make some chicken tenders or whatever and run them through a food processor. Get some. They recommended like olive oil mayonnaise, and make like a chicken salad.
Ooh.
I know you're not a mayo guy,
Ooh.
but I can have tuna fish with mustard or stuff like that. I can start adding It's like a soft food diet.
Do you get eggs next week, or do you got to wait 2 weeks?
Starting next Friday. No, I think I might have to wait till week 4 to eggs.
Yeah.
I can have one scrambled. It has to be scrambled. You have to chew it up a lot. They said make sure everything, even on the soft food diet, that you're chewing because your stomach is so small and still kind of in recovery.
Yeah.
Not healed all the way yet. But you want to chew it well so your stomach doesn't have to break it down as much as it would. I'm not. And it's going to be when I start adding meats and stuff like that, it's going to be ground meats and stuff like that and not, I'm not putting down, fillets or anything yet. They said like flaky whitefish.
Your jaws are going to be so weak you have to learn how to...
Yeah, it's going to be like cod and stuff like that, like flaky whitefishes will be good for me because they're easy to chew and digest.
Yeah.
So, and this is an opportunity for me to venture out into some foods that I wouldn't normally have.
And just thinking about the reset from foods, from that just act of chewing and everything for this long.
Well, I can, now, not that I ever want to operate at a caloric deficit, but I know that my body does not need to eat the amount of food that I was eating to survive. I've survived on so much less right now, and not just survived, thrived.
Yeah.
Prior to going to have surgery, when I was at my heaviest, I had lost a little bit of weight on the pre-op diet, which made things a lot more comfortable for me, but I couldn't walk.
Yeah.
5-minute walk and my back was locked up.
Not even once around my block.
Not even, we barely got halfway around the block, and then I thought I was going to have to ask you to get the truck.
Yeah, you had to stop multiple times just around the
just
neighborhood
to stretch
block.
my back out to get, and now I think I can go back and do our normal walk,
Now today I can't.
I know.
That's the funny part. It's now today. It's the opposite.
But we're going to get there, but the fact that I couldn't go to the grocery store and make it down 2 aisles without getting like a buggy, and then, within a couple weeks, I'm walking 8.5 miles in Mexico.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Getting tattoos.
Yeah, tell them how much you lost just in the pre-op.
So I started my diet at March 28th when I went on vacation. I was 438, and at surgery the day before my surgery, when we got done there and did the paperwork, I weighed in. I was probably 409, 408, 409 with clothes on and everything. And today I'm down to 394. So I'm down another 15 pounds since last week.
That's wild. So
about 2.5 pounds a day, 3 pounds a day almost.
I know. I'm calling it. By my birthday, you're going to be smaller than me.
Maybe.
It's going to be close. It's going to be close.
It is. And that's the thing is, it's like, I'm not trying to lose. I feel like I'm eating more than I'm supposed to. But when I do reach that limit, my body's going to tell me that's the limit.
Yeah.
So, and that's another thing about it, just listening to your body. Like, I can, if I take a sip of drink, I can literally feel it go down my esophagus and into my stomach, which is, before I'm sitting here drinking a Pedialyte type drink now.
Before you only felt that when you did a good shot, huh?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you feel the burn all the way down.
Shot of moonshine.
But I'm drinking a Pedialyte style drink, and normally I would guzzle this in 1 or 2 sips,
Yeah.
And now it's just small sips over a couple hours. And one thing I found when I didn't have any protein, so that next morning, Tuesday morning, when I woke up, I was like, I took my daughter stayed home, so nobody had to go to school that day. They were still recovering from the strep. I came home to a house full of people with strep throat, and luckily I was already on antibiotics, so I wasn't in jeopardy of catching it. But I went to GNC that morning, and because I only had a limited amount of protein the night before, and I couldn't have the Premier shake at home or the Fairlife shake at home because I wasn't supposed to have those pre-made drinks. I was like, as soon as GNC opens, I'm there.
Yeah. And
so I went there and I bought the strawberries and cream powder to have at home with the 1% milk. But I also picked up, they had a 20-ounce bottle of, I think it's Rise brand, but it's their clear protein. And so it's like a Gatorade style drink or Pedialyte style consistency, maybe a little bit thicker.
Oh, I haven't seen that one yet.
Yeah. I should have taken a picture of it for you.
Yeah.
But it was Jell-O flavored.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and they had a ton of them there. Even Alani has Alani, like that tropical energy drink brand.
Yeah.
They have a line of protein, and I got Bethany cookies and cream one.
All the Rise stuff that I've had has been really good. That's what the Cosmic Brownie I have in there.
Oh,
Is
okay.
the protein powder is Rise, and
Hey,
they're
Rise, reach out to us. Hey,
yeah, sweet tea creatine is where it's at. You put that in your water. Oh my goodness, it's really good.
I'm yeah, Rise, reach out. I mean, we're taking sponsors.
Yeah.
But
don't send us crap because I will tell everyone that you sent us crap.
So 100% honest reviews.
Yeah.
But if you need somebody to wear your merch, let us know. We take merch, shaker bottles.
Yeah. But yeah, we'll give honest reviews. So don't try to sneak one by.
But I'm doing fantastic, man. I feel amazing. I'm, moving more. I think because I'm moving more during the day, I'm sleeping better at night.
Yeah, 100%. Did you start your CPAP yet?
No.
Come on, bro.
I know. There's a couple steps that need to be taken before the CPAP can get set up. But maybe I'll make that a priority today.
You need to.
Yeah. I'll go to the store, get a distilled water.
Because you need sleep. Everyone needs sleep.
I do, but dude, I'm going to bed at like.
Yeah, but it doesn't mean you're getting quality sleep.
No, do you want to know what my sleep score was last night?
All right. Well, sleep score it after you get back on the CPAP.
Dude, sleep score is 65. I've never had anything over a 40 before.
Okay.
So
well, you're 65. That's a lot of room for a CPAP.
No, there is 35% room for improvement. But, I mean, the quality of sleep was fair. There was deep sleep in there. There was REM sleep in there. And, but, like, I'm getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning, 5 o'clock in the morning now before the kids get up. Before, I was, like, hitting the snooze button, barely getting the kids to school on time. I'm having time to myself. I go downstairs. I need to put the scale away.
Yeah.
And pull it out once a week.
That's the best way to do it, is once a week.
It is.
In the morning. You should do it every Friday morning when your diet changes.
Yeah.
It's an easy way to do it.
And there is... But it's so hard when you know you're working at it and you want to see that number. Yeah. But you also don't want to be disappointed when you hit a stall.
Yeah.
So,
it's supposed to be a tool, not something you focus on.
Exactly, because I'm realizing so many non-scale victories or non-number victories that I'm having that it's nice to compound them with the number victories. But I think today I'm going to go home and put the scale away. I have a doctor's appointment with my primary care next Tuesday afternoon, so I'll weigh in there.
Yeah. And
then we'll probably do Fridays after that.
Yeah. That's a good plan since your diet's changing on Fridays.
Yeah. One thing
that's what I used to do when when I'm on a diet, is I do it on Fridays, because I know the weekends I'm gonna eat what I want on the weekends, and then get back on track, and then I would just weigh on Fridays because I've been good all week. So that way I have an accurate representation. That way it's not like water weight from eating pizza on a Sunday or something.
Yeah, and I have been and trust me, when I get on that scale, I'm all but naked. You know what I mean? We're not leaving room for. We're not leaving
rings and watch off.
I'm gonna take my silicone ring off. No, but I will.
My earbuds out.
I will just get on there with just my basketball shorts on or whatever. Not that I think my t-shirts are overly heavy, but I want that number to be.
Those ounces.
Yeah, exactly. I want to see what it actually is. So, but I'll go to the doctor next week, and I'll weigh in there. And then I'll probably weigh in next Friday. One thing I want to talk about is how cool it's been that, Isabel in our group went ahead and created, a Facebook group chat.
I know. Y'all been chatting it up, too.
We have.
I think that's really important. And, y'all are all bonded from having the surgery done the same day.
Mm-hmm.
And just being able to walk around and talk to each other and meet each other. I think that was one of the coolest parts of it.
And by creating the Facebook group chat, people have gone in there and say, Mandora got on there and said, one day she was struggling with gas pains and she was having to kind of burp herself in her chest. And, they're like, oh, it'll get easy. There's just a support system. Something I thought about yesterday that I wanted to reach out and talk to the group about is what if we did a weekly Zoom call? And maybe not everybody can get on every week.
Yeah.
Or whatever, but creating a Zoom call where we can kind of track each other's progress and stuff like that and still have a live FaceTime type meeting.
Yeah. even
You,
for just encouragement.
exactly. And one thing I talked to my wife about yesterday is like maybe like me go get into like a support group
Yeah.
or something like that, or like there's this. Did I send you that song yesterday?
Maybe, I don't know.
Oh, dude, if I didn't send it to you yesterday, it's "Unpretty" by Jelly Roll,
Oh yeah, I know that song.
and I'm like, dude, that thing had me crying in the bathroom. It's like, and like I think one of the key lines in there is like, "I'm not the man I used to be, but he's still a part of me."
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, like even though that's not like my weight's not the end of my story, it doesn't mean that like I'm like I sent you that picture of that tattoo that I want, and it's it's the number 438, and it's encircled with the words "never again" in cursive script, and it's like I want to get that tattooed on my left forearm as a reminder of like you know let's not ever go there again.
Yeah.
We're never ever gonna go there again. Like you're better than that. It doesn't define you, but it is part of my story.
Yeah.
A
You
success
should tell him.
story,
Yeah, you should tell him. The emotional reactions you had after surgery.
So I came, and even with the doctors, like I came out of, like,
Yeah, since the surgery.
yeah, I mean, just being home and just being like, just seeing my attitude change, and it hasn't been just all weight loss. Like I've gotten into reading scripture every day. That's something I started while we were down there. And not just reading it on the Bible app on your phone, like actually getting out a physical Bible
Yeah.
and putting yourself in the Word.
The Daily Dad now too. Shout out Ryan Holiday.
Yeah, shout out Ryan Holiday. I have started the Daily Dad, and gosh, that's been so good for me.
Yeah.
The first one he talked about was how long can you go, and it was how long can you go between arguments with your kids, and it's like the thing that hit me was nobody ever gets to the end of their life and says, you know what, I'm super happy with the number of arguments I had. And it's like, basically, it's just saying pick your battles.
Yeah.
Don't give up on the core values that you think are important, but pick your battles. Like, is laundry the end of the world?
Yeah.
No. There's things that we teach our kids because we want to teach them responsibility, but at what cost does it have to come? And the next day it was on patience. And that was like, we're so patient with our coworkers and clients or, our friends and stuff like that. But we get home and it's like, have we used all our patience up?
Yeah.
Has all our patience been expended? And it's like, if so, then why don't we just be short with the assholes that we work with, instead of giving them the luxury of our patience when at the end of our lives, the people you're going to be surrounded by are not going to be your clients and coworkers. It's not going to be some kid you coached on a soccer team, when he was 8 years old. It's going to be your kid that's going to remember the patience that you gave them. It's those values of patience that you're instilling in them that are generational.
Yeah.
So that the Daily Dad's been helpful for me with my relationships. Wednesday night I went to a revival at church. That was super cool. The one thing that he talked about.
You went to a concert on Tuesday? You've been busy.
I went to a show on Tuesday. I went to revival on Thursday. And one thing he talked about was, and he read out of 2 Kings, but the lady, he had told the lady who had an elderly husband that she was gonna have a baby, and she's like, "Don't give me hope" or whatever, And then she does have a baby, and then a couple of years later, the baby dies, and she brings the baby to him, and they revive the baby comes back. And but when she originally came to him with the dead baby, he was like, "Are you okay? Is your husband okay? Is your everything okay at home?" And she goes, "Yeah, everything's fine." Well, no, it's not fine. He's like, "She's a liar," but it's okay to not be okay. It doesn't have to be the end of your story.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't break my headphones.
I know you have it on your headphones.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
it's okay not to be okay.
And that's exactly right. Like. But just make sure if you're not okay, that you're doing what's appropriate for you to get to that okay place again.
Yeah.
And, just because you're not having an okay day doesn't mean you can't have okay moments in that not okay day. And just, there's a song by Brandon Lake, and he talks about when I have nothing else, just one hallelujah. If that's all I have to give, just give that. When you feel like you're at your lowest and you have nothing left to give, just that one hallelujah is all you have to give. Then just give that. Just be thankful for that.
No, there's always something to be thankful
But
for.
one thing he said in there is the problem with people these days is that they're looking for microwave miracles when we work for a rotisserie God. It's like we've become, with the age of the cell phone and, the introduction of less eating at home and more dining out, we've become a, a society that wants stuff instantaneously.
Yeah.
And that's not the way that God works all the time.
Yeah, phone's not loading fast enough. You get mad.
Yeah, and we can touch on the other subject. Is I finally got the decision on my hearing, and they decided against me.
Yeah, but you didn't take it.
No, I didn't.
You've had a lot of time to process the whole thing.
I have. I thought it was going to work out in my favor. I had kind of hoped it was going to work in my favor, but the only thing that it was going to do was take the termination off my record. I had already decided for myself and with my family and prayed on it that if they did reinstate me, I wasn't going back anyway. And, all that was going to do was give me an opportunity to maybe get another state job.
Yeah.
But here's the thing is like when God closes a door, he opens another one, but sometimes when he closes that door, he has to lock it and deadbolt it and board it shut and put a stone in front of it so that he can open that other door. And like right now, my body's healing. Like it's not the time for me to be going out and looking for a job. So, maybe after, this 4 weeks or whatever. And, I'm focusing on my health, my mental health, my family, my spirituality. I've got so much positive going for me that like, a bunch of my buddies asked me, are you going to appeal the decision? And I'm like, at this point, I'm done. Like, basically the state and the department has showed me that they're going to do what they want to do regardless. Yeah. I thought the fact that they stated in there that although they did not provide sufficient evidence against me as the allegations they accused me of, they still found in favor of the department. And I'm like, that's the craziest thing I've ever heard in my life. But if that's their way of saying that we're going to do what we're going to want to do so that you don't make us look stupid, then because I made a decision that 100 times out of 100 I would make again. And it's a decision that every other person in my position has also made but not been held accountable for. So they're going to do what they want to do to who they want to do when they want to do it. And you know what? If I can't change, there's things in this world that I can't change. And I just need to focus on the things that I can.
Yeah, that's like when I was going through disability and was in front of the judge and stuff. They brought in this expert. And I thought it was in the bag for me because she said that, if an employee misses 2 or more days of work a month because of, doctor's appointments or because for me it was being in chronic pain, that's unacceptable. Well, I was doing that before my last surgery, before I, how I am now when I was actually working a full-time job. I was missing more than 2 days a month.
You missed 4 days this week,
yeah. It's just because something flared up.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, this is going to be awesome. I'm going to get, and then got denied, on final appeal and everything. And, at the time I took it really hard, but now, it's just one of those things that happened. But I guess it wasn't the time for me, is how I look at it.
And now you're at a company that works with you that, pays you what could be considered a living wage for the most part.
Yeah.
And they're flexible with you with your...
I'm a part-time employee anyway.
You're a part-time employee, but, but they
really look out for me, and they really care.
Company. And that's what it's going to take for me, too, is to get into a company where, they're going to look at me when I turn my resume and say I've worked somewhere, I've been unemployed for almost the last year. Or no, I've been unemployed since November. But I've worked for a company for 15 and a half years, and I was terminated for policy violation. When it was really just a situation that couldn't have been avoided, and it's a situation that's happened hundreds of times, and this is the time they decide to enforce it. You know? So that's what it is. And, I want to leave it at that. Yeah. Because there's so much positivity going on. And that's why, like...
That, and we're talking about, the end of the last episode 2. You know, we're
So
just adding on to the surgery.
let's talk about Sunday night.
Yeah, Sunday night.
Our Sunday late afternoon, they took us.
After massages, after
We went shopping and we went to a museum. The museum was so cool.
I know, I wish we would have had more time. That's
It
the only
was
thing I didn't like was
Mexican Heritage Museum down there.
being rushed through that museum.
It was really like the story of Tijuana and
Yeah.
that Baja, California area.
How cool was that the Chinese dragon too, dude?
Oh, the Chinese dragon was cool. You know, me being a Navy guy, that ship in there,
I know.
I was like instant. I was like, and the detail they put into it. Like, I mean, I took pictures, but the pictures don't even do justice to like the rope work that was in there. You know, and
I was showing pictures off, and the same thing. I was like, "Oh, if you could have just seen it."
yeah, and you know a lot of Hispanics have a huge Catholic faith, so that was expressed a lot in there. My wife loves that stuff, and what I really liked was everything in there was in Spanish. You know, when they had an artifact or whatever, it was in Spanish and in English.
Yeah.
So that was cool. I wound up going through and just taking pictures of artifacts, and then taking pictures of the description beside it. And I just had to go back later to
That's what I was telling
it.
Nate. Yeah.
And it was like, I wish we had. I mean, I could have spent a couple hours in there.
Yeah, I could have spent the time skipping the loosely called aquarium. It's a pretty loose term that they
charged. The museum was free. They charged for the aquarium.
And then I've been to pet shops with more exotic fish.
It was 9 fish tanks, Josh.
Yeah.
Let's just be honest. It was 9
it was
fish tanks.
loosely an aquarium, but I did like it. I will say, at one tank, I thought people were trying to look past like floating trash in the tank
and scum on the glass.
Yeah, but it turns out it was little tiny jellyfish.
Yeah, they were.
So I felt
microscopic jellyfish.
I was like, why is everybody standing in this tank when it's just got stuff floating in it?
And those axolotls were pretty cool.
Yeah, there was a couple cool fish.
Oh, what about the architecture stuff with the chains that went down to the the turtle?
That was pretty sweet.
Yeah, they instead of having gutters or whatever that wash the rain into the sewer system or away from the building, they had over this turtle exhibit. They had this huge chain that goes up to the roof. So when the rain
50, 60 feet up.
It was really tall. When the rain lands on the roof, it goes to the edge, and then it comes down this chain into the turtle habitat.
Yeah, that was probably the sweetest part of the aquarium. That and the vertebrae that was in there.
Yeah, but and then outside the aquarium, all those statues.
I know the garden. I wish we would have got to spend more time.
I mean, they actually had to whistle to get me to come over because I was like away from the group.
Yeah,
and
then the mall was a little bit of a disappointment. Because I wish we could have just been able to walk around the mall.
Yeah, I mean, they took us there because they had, I'm sure it's mass produced,
Yeah, it's the...
it's a tchotchke shop.
Yeah, it's the souvenirs when you go anywhere.
Exactly. It was if you ever been to a cruise port or anything like that, it's exactly what's on the pier.
But in a mall full of cool stores that you want to go see.
Exactly. And did you see that popcorn container that lady had?
I know.
It was like a bucket with a handle. I guess after the movie, you get to take popcorn home with you.
Yeah.
But
it was the only store that we were allowed to go to that they would take us to. But they didn't. They failed to mention that it was only a few blocks away that we could have just walked back to the recovery center.
Yeah.
So if they would have said that, I would have been like, hey, leave us here and we'll just walk back.
Yeah, we're good from here.
Yeah.
So Josh is talking to one of the guys about tattoos.
Yeah. He showed me his tattoo for $25 US.
It was a teddy bear?
Yeah, it was a teddy bear with like cool stitching. Yeah. But it looked so good. It looked better than any tattoo I had on my body at that point.
And he said he got it for $25. And I was like, well, for $25, we're getting tattoos.
Yeah.
So we get back and...
Sundays in Tijuana, a lot of things are closed.
Yeah, I mean, it was like 5:30 when we had this idea. And then so we kind of just Google tattoo shops near me. And it takes us, I'd say 5-6 blocks away from...
Yeah, it was a 10-minute walk.
It was a 10-minute walk, 8.5 at night downhill.
Yeah, coming back downhill was a little quicker.
So we were supposed to be... So we go... And we're like, well, obviously it's a tattoo shop. They're going to take a card or, a MasterCard or Visa. And, or there'll be an ATM. Some ATMs are few and far between in Mexico.
Yeah, evidently It's a rarity.
Yeah. So we finally find this place. We followed the directions on the map. We kind of Google map walked it.
Well, what's weird is because it's an office building.
It's
a beautiful
it's a
office
skyscraper. It's a huge.
This tattoo parlor is on
glass.
the 10th floor.
And so we get there and we go. It's I don't know 6:00 at night or 6:30 at night, and we go to the security guard who speaks no English, and Josh and I speak no Spanish, and we're like tattoo, and he's like yes, and I'm like what 10? What are you talking about?
Yeah.
And so he tells us to sign in. We have no clue where we're going. He puts us on the elevator, and the building's so secure, he has to scan his badge to even let us get off on the 10th floor.
Yeah.
We get on the 10th floor. We don't know where we're going. We're walking past all these empty offices.
Yeah. Under constructed. Not even like completed, closed. They're under construction.
I mean, they haven't even sold these buildings yet, these office spaces yet. And so Josh and I are pretty sure we're going to be abducted. That's fine. But, so we finally find it. We knock on the door. We ring the doorbell. Nobody answers. Then we knock on the door. Finally, somebody comes over, and they let us in. And it is the cleanest tattoo shop I've ever seen in my life.
Definitely the cleanest and highest and high-end shop out there, too.
Yeah, definitely one of the best view I've ever been in.
Yeah, for sure. On the 10th floor in the corner with glass walls.
Yeah, 10-foot floor-to-ceiling glass windows on 50% of the walls.
That's where I realized that Tijuana was a lot bigger than I thought it was.
Exactly. From there, you can kind of see out over the city.
Yeah, I was thinking it was like as big as Richmond or something like that, maybe a little bit bigger. It's 2.5 million people live in Tijuana.
Yeah, it's a big city, and it's crazy. It's like really only 100 years old.
Oh yeah, because we saw like the beginnings of it,
and it was like a dirt bowl town.
Yeah,
with no streets or anything. 1924. But so Josh and I got
Be Better Everyday tattoos.
That was kind of a fiasco to get one because we asked them and they were like, oh no, we don't take card. And I'm like, okay, do you take Cash App or Venmo or whatever? And they're like, no, not really. So we're like, okay, cool, we'll go find an ATM. We walked around for about 15 minutes in the immediate vicinity of the ATM. And they had told us it was going to be, and we understand because it was a higher end tattoo shop and they don't do flash art pieces.
No, there's no, I'm just going to come in, get a tattoo today.
I'm not getting cherries on my hips here,
Yeah.
Nobody's coming in there for tramp stamps. And
but our guy Harold, shout out on Instagram, don.maggie_. I'll leave it in the show notes too. You can check out his work on Instagram. Our dude's amazing.
And we wanted something simple.
Yeah.
Basically, we got the podcast name I got it on my forearm.
I got it on my calf.
And then it's got a rising sun on top of it and some hills underneath.
Which we're calling the Hills of Tijuana.
We are calling them the Hills of Tijuana. It kind of reminds us of our trip. The sunrise. It's a new day for me. It's a new life for me. Post-surgery.
And every day's a day you can be better.
Exactly. So it's a constant reminder to just be a better version of yourself.
We literally put a stamp on the trip.
We did. And Josh said, well, we weren't brothers before. We're brothers for life now. So, and I mean, really, there's nobody I'd rather have, a matching tattoo with.
And I'll tell you one thing. The streets of Tijuana at night, the path we had to walk back was empty.
Well, tell them about getting out of the building.
Oh, yeah. We thought we got trapped in the building, and we were really concerned that we were going to have to sleep in a lobby till the next morning because we come down to the level we came in on. No security guard. The doors are locked.
We can't even find an emergency exit.
Yeah, not an emergency exit. Nothing. There's 2 doors to get in. Both of them locked shut. And then the stairs I thought I found only led up to a loft for administration.
We can't get back up to the 10th floor because we don't have the badge.
Yeah, can't even get on any other floor.
To get to Harold to let us out.
Yeah, and there's 5 sub-levels of parking lot. So Harold was going to go right past us in the lobby anyway. So there was like a good 5-10 minute panic setting in of like, can I open this door enough to like squeeze out? Like, is there
in this building? And luckily, a security guard that was working in the parking garage saw us on the cameras and came up and retrieved us.
Yeah, it was a real panic for 5-10 minutes of like,
we were supposed
what the
to be
hell's
back
happening?
at the recovery center by
7. They said they locked the doors day one at 7, but they told us we could be back by 8. Your homeboys rolled back in at 11:30.
And she said she got back. She got off work at 9.
Yeah.
And we're like, and we got back at 11:30.
So.
And we kind of knew there would be someone there to let us in because it's a medical recovery center, so they're not going to have us just locked in the building in case someone has a medical emergency.
Exactly.
And it's a business.
Yeah.
So luckily we kind of rang the doorbell. The guy was like, "Yeah, no problem."
He didn't even say anything. He just opened the door. And
I know.
Right
He didn't even ask our names. I'm like, I felt like anybody could have walked in.
Well, we had definitely talked to enough staff and been around.
We had made our presence known.
Yeah, for sure.
And, gosh, I'm going to be honest with you, dude. I want to go back as a companion.
I know. I want to go back as somebody else's companion too, dude. I'm just like, I seen somebody comment in the in one of the groups. I can't remember if it was the Pompeii or the April Pompeii.
Yeah.
But they commented how they want to go back as a companion.
Yeah.
And everybody in the comments was like, me too, me too. All the people who had surgeries are so jealous of the companions that they want to go back as somebody else's companion.
I just want to go back and experience the staff again. I just the hospitality that Hispanic community had for us. And
I know. I'm
get
sitting
it.
here.
Like, we're bringing American money across the border, so they're going to treat us well. But it's like they treat us way better than
they treat you better than anybody's treated you, like
in a service industry before or medical industry before.
Like on a cruise ship, you don't get treated that good.
Yeah,
and people are getting not very much money. They don't. The minimum wage was $18 a day down in Tijuana.
Yeah. And
a lot of these people are making $18 to $40 a day, so they're like living on tips. But everyone's so friendly that you just feel like family. You don't feel like a patient. You don't feel like anything.
No.
Like my massage therapist from Thursday, I saw her on Sunday. I went to high five her. She ducked right underneath that high five and just came and gave me
a hug. Yeah. Like she wanted pictures with us. It wasn't like us asking to take pictures with the staff. She wanted pictures with us on her phone.
Yeah. We're like Facebook friends with multiple people off staff already.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just that kind of vibe from top to bottom, from the time you get picked up at the airport to the time you get dropped off.
I kind of made a joke. I was like, if I get any new friends, I'm only getting fat friends because I'm going to convert them. Another thing that I talked about doing, like maybe one day if I come in anything, is like, I'm trying to think of ways to, help others.
Yeah.
And it was like, what if I created like once a year, like a scholarship fund to pay for someone's surgery, like someone that like needs it and wants to make a change in their life and can't. Just money's the obstacle.
Yeah.
Like money shouldn't be the obstacle to like changing your life. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Especially
and the fact that it's so affordable to do it there. Like
for under $10,000, you could literally change your entire life.
I mean, if you
for under $5,000,
if you bare bones that you could do it with airfare. I mean, if you just did coach and you went by yourself, it would have been $46 plus $800, $5,400.
Yeah.
You can call it $5,600 with tips or whatever. And incidentals.
Yeah.
For travel, you could do it for $5,600. So like that's something I thought about is like ways for me to just give back. You know,
raise money to send more people down to do it.
Yeah, and
And part of the scholarship is Mac's got to be your companion.
Exactly. I didn't say that. I wasn't going to say it, but we're going to talk about it once we start issuing scholarships. It's
yeah.
But it's just been, I mean, I'm so thankful. I mean, it's been an emotional roller coaster. It has been and any tears haven't been tears of pain or suffering. They've been tears of joy and like relief and, just, thankfulness. And
the only thing bad that really happened was your how scared you are of needles. That's been about it.
Yeah.
Like you don't like getting shots and stuff, and that was literally the worst part. And if that's the worst part,
I was gonna fight that lady over this. See what was it, blood clots or whatever? She was trying to give me her bed sores or something.
Oh yeah, some because you already had your IV out at that point, so
yeah,
it was some kind of other medication they were giving you a shot for. You were not having it.
She gave me a shot for blood clots, and I was like, I'll just refuse it. And she's like, You can't. And I'm like, part of me's going, well, you're not going to chase me around this room with a needle until you tie me down. It was like, I have the right to refuse medical treatment.
But that was like your worst thing.
I was going to fight her over that. Josh was like, Matt, you're fine, dude. Just get it. Let's talk about the turbulence into Minnesota.
Let's talk about the whole way home. I think all the miles we put in on Sunday and then the travel day back is what really flared me up because the ride from the recovery center back to the airport was not the greatest for me. You were all right in the front seat. I was in the third row.
Well, you almost got Michael Scott too.
Yeah. I was trying to be nice enough to get into the back so 3 ladies could sit in the middle row, but that didn't happen. Somebody sat in the back with me, and so
which prevented Josh from stretching out a little bit.
And then literally from the time we left to the border crossing, because we had to get out the border crossing for a secondary search, which I'm not going to even lie, I was happy to get out of the car because my muscles were trying to cramp up the entire time in the back seat. All the women were cold. They didn't want air on. So I was like, oh God, I'm back there borderline about to sweat, trying not to cramp up.
I'm in the front with Ali, and we have the air conditioner on.
So when we got to the border, we went through the first checkpoint. Then they made us do a secondary checkpoint.
And they held my passport.
Yeah.
Which was weird because, I'm like a rule follower to a T, except sometimes I think the rules don't apply to me. Like, if you tell me don't go through a door, I want to know the 50 reasons why I can't go through that door.
Yeah, what's going on?
Yeah, exactly. But I think they just held someone's ID.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
When we handed the passport, I was sitting up front. I collected all the passports and handed them over to the driver. And so when he handed them back to me to pass out, I knew they held somebody's, but Josh's and mine were the only brand new ones. And so once I saw Josh's face in there, I was like, oh, God, come on, man. Yeah. And but I think they just held someone's ID, someone's passport.
Then we tried to mess with him when we got back in, and I had his passport in the back, but the girls sold us out pretty quick.
Yeah, I was like, wait, where's my passport? Where's my passport at?
But, yeah, me and Ali were all about hiding the passport from...
Let's talk about... So we get on San Diego. We're in first class.
Wait. We get dropped off at the airport.
Yeah.
And we drop off to all the other ladies. There's 2 different stops, and ours is the third stop, but...
It's out now, so...
Yeah, this is out. So our driver gets back in, and he's like, look, guys, we had such a connection, and I saw you had a connection with this guy. We've all been joking around. He goes, but I got to tell you something serious. And one of the staff members had passed away the day before. And so he let us know. And he waited. He was respectful. And the only reason we're telling y'all this because somebody else already released it.
It's already out into the ether.
Yeah. But that's the kind of connection you build with the staff there.
Yeah. And thoughts and prayers out to his family and his friends and the staff because, it's not just like when you look at the staff, it's not like they're just co-workers. Like, that's a family of people that work together.
Yeah, everyone's joking around with everyone. Like, when you go out in the hallway, the staff is, like, busting each other's balls.
Yeah.
It's, like, just a good atmosphere.
And so to lose someone when you have such a tight-knit community like that, and it's not a huge population of staff either. It's not like a huge group, but, I mean, there's probably 20 or 30 people that work there.
Yeah, they're giving each other, like, cool nicknames like Power Rangers and Papa Smurf and Mr. Clean.
And... So to lose someone when you're such a tight community like that, a work community, a work family like that, I know it's hard on everyone, and our thoughts and prayers go out to them and his family, and I know that he's in a better place than the rest of us. So
yeah, definitely want to touch on that.
Yeah. Then you realize you lost your headphones.
Yeah, as soon as we get in.
Luckily, both of us traveled with 2 sets of headphones.
Yeah, over the ear and earbuds.
But the flight from San Diego,
I almost didn't make it through the gate because my ticket wouldn't work. And you had to come back with the app.
We were at security. Yeah, the tickets were on my phone, and I had taken a screenshot and sent it to Josh. And for some reason, that didn't work, but it had worked before.
The guy taking the ticket had the most energy you never wanted to see.
Yeah, he was cool.
He was funny for like about 30 30
Yeah,
seconds to a minute, and
he
then
had all the dad jokes, and he wanted to make sure that you heard all of them during your 10-second interaction with
yeah,
them.
rapid fire, and then you're stuck behind them, and you got to hear it for another 5-10 minutes.
Yeah.
It's like, oh no.
And so we fly from San Diego to Minneapolis. We're getting close to Minneapolis. There's a storm. And it's about 45 minutes of the worst turbulence that I've ever been in. I'm talking like nauseous, palm sweaty, praying out loud. Eventually, I just had to put my headphones on, my crowded music, and be like, if this is the way that it happens, then I'm okay with it. Like,
Yeah, our touchdown, Mac, was pretty sweaty.
we get to the Minneapolis airport, and we're, Josh, our flight, we had like a 40-minute layover. Like, and thank goodness, I'm not going to say thank goodness our flight was delayed because that was really inconvenient, but it would have been a hustle for us to get from one side of the airport to the, because I mean, it was the opposite end of the airport.
Yeah, I had no idea that Minneapolis airport was so big.
Yeah, MSP, Minneapolis, St. Paul,
It was huge.
they're doing big things over there. I can see why Delta uses it as a hub.
Yeah, I had no idea. I thought it was just like an airport like we have.
I mean, for crying out loud, they had a Lego vending machine.
They had
Like to buy
tram.
like why would you be in an airport so long that you would want to buy I mean, I guess in case you went on a trip and didn't get your kids something, but you wanted to come home with something. But I mean, these aren't, I'm not just talking about little sets of Legos. These are like big Lego 3D architecture pieces.
In a vending machine, which is cool.
But like we were eating dinner, Josh tells me, and I still to this day don't know if it's true or not. He's like, no planes ever crash because of just turbulence. There's always been like a secondary factor to it.
Yeah, it's not because of turbulence.
And I was like, and then so we finally, after being delayed 3 times, switched gates twice. What basically happened was the plane that was supposed to bring us from Richmond, or from Minneapolis to Richmond, they had, because of the storm and the turbulence and everything, flights were just circling to land in Minneapolis. And this was a smaller regional style aircraft. And they actually had to divert to Sioux Falls, South Dakota, deplane everybody so that they can, they don't let them fuel with passengers on board. So they had to land in Sioux Falls, deplane, get fuel, then get all of the passengers back on the plane, which I'm sure is a fiasco because people want to go to the bathroom. Somebody's going to get something to eat, and you can't find everybody, And then, so they finally land and deplane them, and then we get on. And I'm thankful we got first class tickets because if that was
tight on that plane,
if that is as snug as it was in first class, coach would have been a real struggle.
Yeah, it was definitely tight on the last leg of the. But I'm so glad that airplane mode and downloaded Spotify list held on till we landed. As soon as I turned my phone off airplane, it just died.
I had downloaded some podcasts, Nate Land podcasts, and so I had those to listen to. Oh, we're gonna hold on one second because the surgical center's calling. Hold on, Let it play. We'll get them live on the air. Hello.
Hello, good morning. This is Yoko calling with Palm Beach Physical. Am I speaking with David?
Yeah, you're speaking with David. You're on the podcast.
Hi.
Actually, it's going great. We're actually talking about you guys right now. No, you're good. We'll pause the podcast, but yeah, you're good. Ma'am, thank you. Yeah. Let's wrap this up, dude. How long have we been going?
Well, it's at 73 minutes right now.
Really? Dude, that went quick.
Yeah. I think they called it like 69 minutes, something like that.
Yeah.
So,
where were we at?
We're at the surgical center call. I mean, we were wrapping up.
Yeah.
We were finally making it home.
Oh, yeah. So, are we recording?
Yeah, we're still recording.
Okay.
This whole time.
So yeah, the flight from Minneapolis to Richmond, I sat next to the window. I sat in the aisle the first time, but I sat in the window, by the window the second time. There was a storm right outside the window, so it's cool to see the lightning. And we hit a little turbulence on the way home.
Not nearly as bad.
Not nearly as bad. I mean, and like I said, I don't know what Josh told me was true, but the ride to Richmond, when I hit the turbulence, I'm like, oh, nothing happens. I told Josh when I get to Richmond, I don't know if what you told me is true or not, but I definitely felt a lot better. So I appreciate it. Whether it was an honest review or not, I was like, I appreciate it.
I mean, from what I've been told, that's true.
Yeah, but that turbulence was, I mean, you're talking about shakes and drops, and it was, I mean, stomach dropping, and, I don't have very much, we talked about it in the last podcast. My stomach's about the size of a banana.
Yeah.
Small banana. A plantain, if you will.
Yeah, but a lot of this stuff, I gotta edit the room videos and stuff like that, so I can post them on TikTok, so that way you can watch a room tour. I got three different rooms. I got the Harry Potter suite, which is like a 7.5-minute video. Star Wars suite's a couple minutes, and then like a regular patient's room, like a minute long.
Yeah, and maybe some of the pictures we took from the museum and stuff like that, or some of the staff, we can throw up on the podcast Facebook page.
Yeah, I'm gonna post all that stuff.
That Google Drive or shared whatever you put up.
Yeah, you just gotta share me your pictures too.
Yeah,
and then that way I can go through and post them, make it easy.
But I mean, like I said, this, next podcast we'll get back to like, maybe a different topic than the bear act, and then we'll do, in a couple months we may do an update. If I get a chance to get my brother-in-law in here with us, we can do, we can talk about his experience and his recommendations and stuff like that.
Yeah, because yours is gonna, for the next couple weeks, is gonna kind of be
just
what it
diet
is.
changes.
Yeah.
We may do some weight updates and stuff like that. Just touch bases. But I want to get back into doing like our normal podcast stuff.
Well, next one, since it's May's mental health, we'll probably do mental health next one.
Yeah.
We'll talk about mental health stuff.
Awesome.
We can do the quote of the day, and then we can roll out. Quote of the day was pretty easy, one a day.
It was. Did you make it up yourself, or?
No, I found it.
Let's see. May is here. Time to dust off the barbecue and hope it doesn't rain. And just, to kind of wrap up what we've been talking about, like, just because I had the weight loss surgery and, like, right now cannot partake in barbecue, I have to learn how to navigate a society that doesn't actually pertain to, patients with bariatric restrictions. So I can go to the barbecue. I just have to know the things that I can and can't have, and that's going to come with trial and error and stuff like that. And there are going to be, not to say there's no bad days or anything, but there's going to be days that are, that I struggle, or I eat something I shouldn't, or maybe I eat a little bit more than I should. But, just because I can't right now go and, scarf down a double cheeseburger or a glizzy,
It's going to be a day where it's instead of one rack of ribs, you can get one rib.
Exactly. And that's what I was saying. It's like, it's just going to be figuring it out. And doesn't mean that I can't get outside and enjoy, fellowship and spending time with family. I can't go to a barbecue and have a good time. I just have dietary restrictions. And that's all it is.
Yeah. I mean, it kind of kicked me off too. I lost 7 pounds walking the streets of Tijuana.
And you know what? And that's the thing is, I love to barbecue too. And part of my, it's not so much that I enjoy eating it. I like preparing it, and like the art of the barbecue and the smoking meats and stuff like that, and sharing it with people.
I know that's what you were watching on the plane into Minneapolis. You were watching some barbecue show.
Yeah, I
was like, man, I couldn't do that. I couldn't be this hungry talking about.
Shout out Malcolm Reed, How to Barbecue Right. He got me through Thanksgivings and Easters and stuff like that with just tutorial videos on how to do, and temperatures and types of wood to use when you smoke meats, and you don't want to use certain fruit woods on certain types of meats, and you don't want to use certain hardwoods on something like a fish or whatever.
Yeah, I'm not that deep in the game yet.
Yeah, I've got a smoker for you when you're ready.
I got this grill I'm not using out here.
I've got a smoker with your name on it. It's just sitting in the backyard.
The air fryer is just too convenient.
Yeah, the air fryer does make things easy, but like everybody's like, "Oh, you gotta try my crock pot ribs," and I'm like, well.
Yeah, it's hard to beat a smoked rib. It's like they're made for it.
Rib. let's save a podcast for barbecue because I got a couple things we can talk about.
But yeah, so that was let's see, we did a pre, I guess a during our trip,
Yep.
and then a post our trip to Tijuana, and hopefully you got a better perspective from a patient and a companion side.
Yeah, and if you have any questions, reach out to us. Shoot us an email, drop a comment.
Yeah, being a companion for that surgery was like is about as easy of a companion you could be for just about any surgery because the staff is so on it and always there.
Well, let's be honest, you had an easy patient to work with.
Yeah, I had an easy patient and
I had a great doctor and I had no complications. So
yeah,
I shouldn't have been up walking 15,000 steps in the streets of Mexico, less than 48 hours after surgery.
but I mean, we were definitely on the hour on the walk.
Yeah.
So I think that made a lot of difference too. The first day of just getting over the first day hump.
And had I felt any discomfort, I would have stayed back. You know what I mean? I wasn't going to push it just because we were, there. But, because I felt good, I did want to experience something that I may not experience again.
Yeah.
I didn't want to miss out on anything just because, if I was feeling well, I didn't want to be laid up in the room,
Yeah.
So.
Didn't want to waste an opportunity.
Exactly. And that's what it's about, Take it, carpe diem.
Yep.
So thank you guys for listening. I appreciate like, comment, subscribe, share.
All that stuff. And remember, be better every day.
Be better every day.